I just wanted to talk about bleed because it's been bugging me for a little while now. And right now, bleed is doing way too much of the heavy lifting in combat. Before anyone jumps on me in the comments, I'm not saying bleed should be removed. Bleed makes sense in a survival game. It adds tension, it adds pressure, and it fits the overall theme of the Isle. The problem is Bleed doesn't just support combat anymore, it straight up decides the combat. Right now, Bleed decides fights more than skill positioning or timing. Once Bleed is applied, the fight basically turns into a timer. At that point, it's not really about who's playing better, it's about who can survive the bleed longer or disengage faster. And that's where things, start to obviously fill off. You can land one or two good hits, lose the actual exchange, and still win the fight because bleed finishes the job for you. You might get outplayed, outpositioned, or even forced to retreat, but if the bleed landed early enough, it doesn't matter. You've already won. You just haven't got the body yet. So this creates a weird situation where winning the fight and winning the outcome are two completely different things. Fast dinos can poke, disengage, and wait. They don't need to fully commit, they don't need to take risk, and they don't need to control the fight for very long. They just need bleed to land once or twice, then they back off and let the ticks do the work. And that's the problem. There are no real downsides for them. If it goes bad, they leave. If it goes well, they leave, and, well, you just die anyways. Meanwhile, slower or heavier dinosaurs don't get that luxury. They can't just disengage and reset. They can't just sit somewhere safe and wait it out. They're either forced to push forward while bleeding or slowly lose the fight without being able to respond. So the system already favors speed, bleed, and it just cranks that advantage up even more. Because of that, combat becomes less about reading your opponent and more about one question: did the bleed land or not? Instead of thinking about spacing, stamina management, baiting attacks, or forcing mistakes, fights get boiled down to whether or not bleed procs early. If it does, everything else almost feels secondary. That's not a great feeling, especially in the game that's supposed to reward patience, awareness, and decision making. Bleed also stacks pressure without enough counterplay. Right now, your options when bleeding are basically to sit, walk, or hide, and none of those feel interactive. You're not making interesting choices, you're just waiting and hoping nothing else shows up. And that's another big issue. Bleed makes third party situations even worse. You don't have to win the fight to benefit from it. You don't even have to fully engage. You just need to add bleed, back off, and wait for someone else to finish the job, or let the bleed do it for you. So, bleed doesn't just punish mistakes, it punishes existence. If you've already bleeding and someone else hears you, you're basically on borrowed time. Another issue is that bleed makes fights feel way too similar across different dinosaurs. Different dinosaurs are supposed to have different playstyles. Some should be about control, some about burst damage, some about attrition, and some just about raw defense. But when it comes to bleed as the main win condition, those playables start blending together. It doesn't matter if you're fighting someone fast, someone small, or somebody who's medium sized. The fight often ends the same way: bleed lands, someone disengages, and the outcome is decided off screen. That sameness kills a lot of identity in combat. And here's the bigger long term problem: if bleed stays this strong, every new dinosaur has to be balanced around it. That limits design space going forward. Devs can't experiment as much with the new mechanics, new niches, or combat styles because everything has to be filtered through the question of how does it interact with bleed? Too strong, it breaks the meta. Too weak, the dino feels useless. And that's not a healthy place for the game to be. Again, bleed shouldn't disappear. It has its place, but it shouldn't be the main win condition. It should reward smart play, not replace it. It should add pressure to fights, but not decide them on its own. Right now, the thing players fear most isn't the dinosaur that they're fighting, it's the bleed bar. And that says a lot about where the combat is. Let me know what you think, whether you agree or not, and what you would change about bleed if you could. And yeah, that's it for this one. Bye.